Good evening, winos. So nice to be back with you. In today's episode, we are, not surprisingly, talking gratitude because it's that time of year again. But this year, we've got a little bit of a flip because in the past, we've talked about how you could get employees to express gratitude for the workplace and build a sense of gratitude and an atmosphere of gratitude, which we still want to do. But this year, because the theme has been retention and recruitment and keeping those good employees, we're going to talk about different ways that managers, HR professionals, and leadership can show gratitude for their employees. Trish, what do you think about that?
I was just thinking how thankful I am for you.
Oh, that's so
I'm
sweet.
thankful for you. I'm thankful for Monarch. I'm thankful for this podcast. And I'm thankful for our listeners. I appreciate that they continue to tune in every other week with us to hear the shenanigans that you and I are getting up to.
Cheers to that all the
Here's
way
to
around.
shenanigans.
Cheers to shenanigans. I always say that the plural of that should be shenanigai because it's just funny.
Truly, truly. But for some reason, when you say that, I think like Shania Twain or something like,
No,
like I don't know,
it could
Shenanigan
be,
Twain.
yeah, it could be a great band name for like a guy, an
Oh,
Irish guy, right? A shenanigai.
oh my God. This episode is already going south for all of our new listeners out there.
Right, right, yeah.
Welcome.
We truly are grateful for you and for laughing at our dumb jokes, my dumb jokes in particular. But anyway, okay, getting back on track. You know that before we get into the heart of the episode, we have to find out what everybody's drinking. So, Trish, what are you drinking today?
So I wanted to do something. You guys all know how much I love Aldi, and I'm thinking, ooh, it's the holiday season. You might be buying more wine because maybe you have family over, friends, etc. So I was trying to find a new wine that y'all could get from there because we know that I love their wines. So I sent Will to the store today, and he came back with a Pinot Noir, which anyone who listens know I do love Pinots. I found this renewed love of them this past year. And this one is from the Willamette Valley in Oregon. Now Brenna, as you all have met Brenna, was like, oh, Willamette Valley, like everything there is so yummy. Like all they do is they do great wines, they do great beers. And so super, super excited to taste it. My first sip did not go so well. And I will admit, some of you might hear in my voice, I'm suffering from a little bit of a sinus infection right now. So I don't know if it's that or if it's really just not the wine for me. But if you hear the description, it says this elegant Pinot Noir hails from the Willamette Valley where Pinot Noir thrives. Vibrant aromas of cherry, raspberry, and rhubarb lead to an elegant palette of herbal and cranberry notes with silky tannins on a medium long finish. Now, all of that sounds phenomenal to me. It's exactly what I would want. However, I am picking up a huge tobacco flavor. And typically I like a little hint of tobacco, but this is like smack you across the face with a cigar tobacco. And again, it might just be me because of the sinus infection. So I'm going to reserve judgment at this point until later. So, having said all of that, Jules, what about you? What are you drinking tonight?
Well, so I think that before I get into mine, we should just tell everybody that with that particular wine, perhaps they should proceed with caution if they are used to and love the typical characteristics of a Pinot Noir, because that may not be it.
I
But
think that's very fair.
yeah. So, hilariously enough, I also got a wine from Aldi.
What is
Trisha
going
and
on
I,
in this
I know,
world?
Trisha and I are on the same wavelength though, because I was thinking the same thing. The holidays are coming. Usually, alcohol consumption goes up, and yes, you're hosting a lot, or you need um, a hostess gift or host gift. So you might need a bottle of wine to take someplace. And Lori Drum, hey Lori,
Hi, Lori.
one of our listeners and our good friend, she had introduced me to the Sunshine Bay Sauvignon Blanc from Aldi, which is very similar to Whitehaven, for those of you who like Whitehaven Sauvignon Blanc. So I went there to get that. And I did get that. But since I have already had that, I saw a rosé from France and I thought, I'll try that one instead because I've never had this particular one. So this is one of their specialty collections, and it is from the Côtes de Provence. And it is, as I said, a rosé. And the description says classically elegant dry rosé from the vineyards of Provence, layered with red fruit aromas and hints of dry herbs. And it is very nice and dry. So we know that I love dry wine. So that is first and foremost a very good thing. I would say that you can definitely taste like some strawberry. I see what they mean about the herbs. It's more on the end. I don't know that I could tell you exactly what they are, but they're probably herbs de Provence. So, just a wild guess.
Oh, the jokes continue.
I'm actually quite serious about that. That's what I'm assuming what they might be. But anyway,
Which is a great blend
yeah,
for cooking, by the way, right?
Exactly. So why not wine? So it is. It's very smooth, dry. So far, I really am enjoying it. So it was on sale for $10.99 a bottle.
Nice.
And I know it's a little lighter than probably the season, but it probably would pair very well with turkey. So there you go.
I love it. I need to look back at our show notes. I feel like I have had that one before. And you know me and my love of featuring Aldi wines. I swear I have, but
entirely possible.
If I haven't, I'm going to try it because that just sounds delicious.
Yes, in season 3, episode 16, we have consumed a lot of wine over the last 3 seasons. So
man, when you say it like that.
I know. We might have to do a bottle calculation.
Oh,
or not.
Or not. Let's please not do that. Yes.
Okay, so let's get into the WHINE, which is not really a wine this episode, because as we mentioned, we're going to be talking about different ways that companies, managers, HR professionals, and leaders can show gratitude for their employees. So, Trish, you want to start us off?
I do, because I want to tie in a couple of our previous episodes to our current episode. And what a better way to do that than through statistics. Yes. So I want everyone to think about some of our previous episodes when we were talking about, obviously, employee retention has really ended up being our theme of the year, as Julie mentioned earlier. So when it comes to retention, a huge part of that is development, right? And so I want to revisit some of the stats that we've shared before and throw out a couple of new ones for you. 76% of employees are looking for opportunities to expand their careers. 86% of employees say they'd switch jobs for one with more chances to grow. And I've heard a very similar stat to that, where it's like well into the upper 80s of people will stay at a job where they make less money. Remember, we've said this stat before, if they are given these opportunities to grow and learn, 84%.
No, no, it's the fourth stat.
Oh,
It's even
wow.
it's even higher than we
It's
thought.
even higher. Oh my goodness, look at that. So, okay, that has grown. That has
Yeah.
definitely changed because I know it was in the 80s before. Now it says, I didn't even see that one. Nicely taken out, Jules. 94% of employees say that they would stay at a company longer if that company invested in their careers. So, why am I mentioning this? Because I think what Julie and I were talking about for gratitude, one of the amazing, amazing ways you could show gratitude to your employees is by giving them these opportunities to learn. So, 91% of employees want personalized, relevant training. What if, in an effort to show gratitude, instead of saying, you must take this training, say to your employee, hey, you've done a wonderful job this year, and I know that you have personal growth goals as well as your goals for growing within our company. What training would you like to receive that would help you achieve both of those goals, right? We're not just going to send them off to do something for them totally personally. We really want it to help them achieve success personally and professionally. So something that could help both. And then one more stat before I turn it over to Julie. Actually, two more. Let's do two more. 55% of employees say they need more training in order to improve. So your employees are really going to appreciate this gift and they are going to recognize that you recognize how important it is. And 74% of workers say that the lack of employee development opportunities is preventing them from reaching their full potential. 74%. That's two-thirds of your employees are telling you, hey, if you give me personal development opportunities, the kind of growth that I need, I'm going to be more successful. I'm going to reach my full potential and I'm going to be a bigger value to your organization. Oh, and you're welcome because I know you're feeling full of gratitude for that little gift.
Absolutely. Well, on top of that, companies that invested in employee development saw a 58% increase in retention. You don't see those kinds of numbers with any other program. So if you can tie this into gratitude, like we're saying, then you have a chance to reach those levels of retention. Because what you're really saying when you say to an employee, hey, we want to we want to invest in you and your development in a very personalized way, you're saying to that employee, this is how much we value you. This is how grateful we are for you and your skills, to the point where we want to spend a good chunk of money to keep you here and to help you achieve your own goals. So it's like a win-win
Yeah,
at the highest level,
absolutely.
right?
Yes,
Right?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. And because we all know that I love to talk about this example from Radical Candor, I'm just going to remind people, especially because we do have a lot of new listeners, because Wine with HR has been out and about all over the towns lately. So,
Yes.
welcome to all of our new listeners, especially those we got to meet in person at either Cleveland or Pittsburgh. And for all of you we haven't met yet, we hope to see you soon. So, Kim Scott wrote a book called Radical Candor, and she uses this example that I use all the time and I love, but she talks about employees as rock stars and superstars. And so your rock stars are those people who are really, really good at their job, but they may not at this point in time want to move up the corporate ladder. They may never want to move up the corporate ladder. They may want to in 5 years, they may want to in 10 years. Again, they may never want to do it at all, but they are really, really good at their job. And you need those people because we can't all be leaders. We need some people to show up and do the work. Then you have your superstars, who are the people who do want to be in leadership. They do want to advance up the corporate ladder, and typically they want to do it as quickly as possible. Again, this may be time dependent because it may be they want to do that now when they don't yet have a family, or maybe their children are grown and they want to do it now that those children are grown. So, number one, keep checking in with your employees and don't assume that what you knew last year is true for this year as well. So that's another way you can show gratitude, by sitting down and having a conversation with them and saying, "Hey, I just want to check back in with you because last time we talked, this is where you were kind of thinking you wanted to be for the next year. And I wanted to see if that is still true because we value you so much. We want to make sure you're happy." Because how many times have you heard about somebody? Well, we hear about this all the time, but over and over again, companies do not offer somebody more money or better benefits or better whatever until they tell them that they're leaving to go someplace else. So let's not be those companies. Let's do it
Please.
now, right? And let's do it now in a way of expressing our gratitude. So you've got your rock stars and your superstars. And the point about that is, again, just because somebody may not want to advance or may not be able to advance because there may not be a position for them to advance into at the current moment in time, you can still help them develop themselves because there is always room for people to learn and grow within the current role that they are in. So again, you can accomplish a lot of things just by doing this very first thing that we're giving you. So if you listen to nothing else this episode, we've already given you a piece of gold. So take
Great.
that and run with it.
I love that so much. I'm just going through as we're talking, looking at some more of these stats too. I mean, it is just crazy to me that more people, and you know, Julie, you know, I say this all the time. Like, if I had a magic wand, the one thing that I would change about the workplace is that every single person, when hired, would get an individualized growth and development plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is just so incredibly, incredibly important. And if again, magic wand, I would make it happen. Well, this is your magic wand. This is your opportunity. You know, forget about some of the other expenditures that you might be thinking of to grow or to change your business. I am telling you, this is the way to do it. The whole idea of thanking your employees, the whole idea of getting them training, and then that retention equals growth, right? And so please, please listen to us when we tell you this is, like Julie said, we just gave you a little nugget of gold.
Yeah. And just to add to that, this goes a little bit off track from the gratitude, but once you give them that professional development opportunity, find ways to have them use whatever skills they just learned in the workplace. Because if they just get to go to this training and then they never get to use it, sends a little bit of a mixed message. So, and again, the whole point is it enriches both parties, the company and the employee. So it would be foolish of the company and short sighted to not take advantage of whatever new skills this person has gained.
So I'm going to jump on and add one more piece to that, and that is what Julie has already said about the fact that not everybody is ready to take on a leadership position, but it doesn't mean that they can't use these new skills. In some of our past episodes, Julie and I have talked about using the people who are those rock stars in a manner that helps them feel better about themselves, helps improve retention. Again, it's all of the things we're talking about here. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say that there is a new person coming on board. And you have this person who has just received all of these new skills. Perhaps that person is the one then who should be the I don't want to use the word mentor. What is my word I'm thinking of, Julie? Like new buddy, the buddy
Oh,
system. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they're the
yeah.
person, they're the go-to. Julie and I have had these conversations with y'all before where we're saying like the last thing you want to do is go to your boss and say, "Where is the ink kept? How do I change the paper in the copier?" Like there's a buddy for that. Well, this buddy can be more than just someone who tells them those things, like where to find more staples, where to find highlighters. They can use some of these new skills to help this person become successful in their new role. Because honestly and truly, our managers are always saying, "Oh, I don't have time to help people succeed. I don't have time to do this training." Well, you know what? This is what we call delegation. Get the skills for these people and then have them help you train these new employees. You're creating
Absolutely.
relationships too, which
Yes.
the relationships help people stay.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and then there's just so much here, but there are some other stats that show just how important this could be, but also what some employee preferences are. So I want to go over those. But 80% of workers say the chance to learn new skills would increase their engagement levels. So again, what we're talking about, not only does it help them stay, but it helps them be more engaged. So these numbers are like off the charts. And of course, we will put the link to this article in the show notes. One third of employees say ideally they would receive training every 3 months, while one quarter prefer monthly training. But 70% of employees said online self paced courses were their preferred learning method. So you don't even have to send them someplace and pay for a hotel and all of that other stuff because most of them would rather do it sitting in their office or at their house. So there you go. These are all really good things. 62% of workers said hybrid learning, a mix of online and face to face, was their desired way to receive training. So you've got a lot of options there. And the big thing is when you think about it, yes, it's an investment, but most trainings are not that expensive. You know, they can range anywhere from a couple $100 to at most a couple thousand, you know, unless it's like a really intensive sort of program. So I think that this is really something that you could make a focus of, not just a gratitude program, but also a retention program. So again, you know, we're what? Oh, I saw this phrase because you know I always go to the kill two birds with one stone, and then I always say, "Why would you say that?" I somebody said, "Feed two birds with one scone," and I like that. So I'm going to try to remember to use that from now on. But
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
all right, so let's get off the development. I think we've said enough about that. And we've, I think, emphasized how important it is. So let's talk about some other things that people could do. So, one that I always like, and we have talked about this before, but is writing your employees a thank you note, a personalized thank you note. So, not the same exact thing to everybody because they will share,
Mhm.
but a personalized note. And if you can handwrite it, if you learned cursive, because I know not everybody does anymore, but even if you can print it, I mean, use ink and paper, you know, not type it, no emails, and leave that with, you know, even if that's all it is, that is great because you took the time to write a note and people don't do that anymore. So I think that's a really simple way. If finances are tight, if your company doesn't give you a budget for these kinds of things, you know, whatever the case may be, it is always, people always appreciate when you take the time to put your thoughts on paper and again, make it really personal. So that's a very simple one to do. Not always easy because it can be hard to put your thoughts, you know, in form and figure out what you want to say, but it's a simple, effective thing to do.
Well, and I think that it's something that you can build on all year long. If it's something that you know you want to do, if it's something that you're thinking, I really want to make this special for people, keep little notes throughout the year of your conversation and remember then to use those to reference things that they either have done or accomplished or said were important to them throughout the year. Because it doesn't matter that you're writing it down and making a note. That some people go, well, that's cheating. Is it? Or does it show that you really care, that you
Mhm.
care enough to think about it all year long versus just like one time a year? So I think that it can be done very, very well and be super personalized, as long as we just take a little bit of effort. It doesn't take that much effort. I'm talking like a sentence. Someone says something, you go to your little journal, you write it down, boom, you're done. It takes a minute or two. And then at the end of the year, now you have all of these things. If they've done something, if they've said something about work, but also about personal, being able to just jot that down and reference it later, is a great way, I think, to show gratitude.
Yeah, and on that note, if you haven't done that this year, another thing you can do is sort of focus more on the characteristics or the character of the person, and what you're thankful for about that. Like, you're always so welcoming to all new team members, or you go out of your way to show newer employees how to do things, or your tenacity. I admire your tenacity to get things perfect. Whatever it is. And oftentimes, this is also a great exercise for yourself because there may be things about certain employees that drive you a little bit nutty. But if you can find the gratitude in those things that drive you nutty, you may start to see them differently. So, like I just mentioned, tenacity, sometimes that might drive you bonkers. But if you can start to see it differently, like, oh, but it's just this person's drive to make sure that the end result is as perfect as it can be, it may help you start to change your relationship with that person or towards that behavior, at least. So you stop seeing it as a negative thing and see it more as a positive attribute that perhaps just needs to be honed a little bit.
I love that. Love that. I'm gonna go with one that is less about our feel goods and more about, buying stuff. Um, One of the things that happened at one of the companies where I had worked in the past, and it is also from one of the other articles that we're looking at today, they gave something very similar. We had an option to choose. I think like we had either five or six different gifts that the company chose, and then we could choose which one we wanted to receive from the company. And I really liked that because I think what it does is it goes to show that we respect you as individuals. We respect that different things are important to you. Julie and I, you give us a bottle of wine, we're going to be like, yay! But what if your employee doesn't drink wine or maybe they don't drink, period? And so that may not be the best option for them. So giving them this opportunity to choose is great. And it doesn't have to necessarily cost a lot. It could be something just really sweet and sentimental. It could be, now I'm not sure how I feel about branded merchandise. Like I
Yeah.
feel like that might be a little too pushy of your own ultimate goals. So I'm not sure that I like their suggestion of branded merchandise, but most certainly having a list of items that they can choose from, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I really like that too. And, to your point, I think the other thing that you can do with something similar is when employees mention something that they really enjoyed in their personal life or that they do on a regular basis in their personal life, jot that down because you could also use that as inspiration for a gift. If somebody mentions that they went to a restaurant and they loved it, then you could get a gift card to that particular restaurant. if somebody mentions that they got a really great massage at a local place, you could get them a gift card to that massage place. Again, it shows that you listen and you pay attention to details about things that aren't related to work, but are about them. So, again, you're showing that you care enough about them to pay attention to those kinds of things. And then you can personalize the gifts whenever you give gifts. But right now, we're just saying, we're coming upon the holiday season, and I should say holidays, plural season, because it's again not just Christmas. There's lots of holidays within this 6 week period, and we want to make sure that we're being inclusive of whatever we are doing. So that's why we're focusing on showing gratitude to employees, and we're not talking about specific holiday parties or just celebrating. We're talking about making it personal, showing gratitude to each individual employee on your team.
Julie, one of the other suggestions in the article that I thought was great actually goes to that. For those of you who really do want to learn and grow and make this an opportunity, not just to express gratitude, but maybe to improve understanding amongst your different team members, maybe have an event that focuses on the different holidays that are in this season, why they're celebrated, talk to people about their preferred days off for those different holidays, and really learn, like create an atmosphere of respect and learning about individual traditions, why those celebrations again are meaningful to them, and really just create a culture of kindness and civility and inclusiveness
And belonging.
and belonging.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's great, and a very important point. And on that note, one of the other things that you can do during this season is maybe offer more flexible hours and time to people. So again, that's one that doesn't really cost the company anything. It may take some extra work on your part to schedule and make sure that everything is covered, but we're not necessarily talking days off. We're talking allowing people to flex their schedules so that they can have more opportunities to get all the extra things we have to get done during this season done outside of work, without losing their minds or being super stressed out. So that could be any number of things, but also in keeping with what we were just talking about, not everybody celebrates Christmas. So not everybody needs or wants Christmas off, but they may want a different day off. So if you know that and can have an open discussion about that with your employees, then hopefully you can figure out a calendar that allows everybody to celebrate the days that are most important to them and still have coverage for all the other times.
I think that's fantastic too. Man, there's some good ideas in here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. What are some other ones that are fun? I think we talked about management sending handwritten letters. We can talk about the C-suite, some of your founder, your president sending those handwritten letters. I kind of wanted to jump back to that one again because I do want to remind people that it doesn't necessarily just have to be you as a manager or as an HR professional. It could, I mean, if you have a small enough team, I actually had someone in one of my classes recently who said that their president of their company handwrites a letter to every member of their organization, and they are personal. Now they have a smaller organization, but still it's like 70 people or something like that. So that is super, super impressive. So I just want to remind you that that can be done on multiple different levels. And actually, you could even have it be like a mail day. Anybody that interacts with a particular employee, right? If there's three or four managers, maybe they write it. I'm just trying to think of some other ways where you could, end up making it a celebration. So it's not just about the handwritten notes, but mail call, here comes another letter, here comes another letter. But if you're doing that, it is going to take a little bit of effort to make sure that everybody is getting a lot of letters. We don't want like one person getting 10 and one person getting one. So
It's
we do.
like it's like Valentine's Day back in grade school,
Oh my
right?
God. Yes. Yeah. We had a strict policy, man. You had to give every single person in that class, you had to, which I thought was really smart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, part of this is when it is challenging, you could do, like you're saying, you could do this among the whole team, have the team do it for each person.
Ooh.
When it is challenging for somebody to say, I'm grateful for this about this person, because maybe they don't have the best relationship, that can change the entire dynamic when you start seeing things a different way. Is it going to magically fix everything? No, but I'm going to give you a personal story because I'm pretty sure this person will not listen to this podcast. But anyway, somebody said once, like, if you're ever struggling with a particular person, and maybe this person has done some really, really bad things to you, if you can find maybe not gratitude in the person, but gratitude in the situation,
Mm.
again, it can help you let go. So,
Mhm.
I'm not saying that you have to magically decide that you love everybody on your team. But if you can start to see somebody who you have seen as an enemy as another team member who has the same struggles as every other human on the planet,
Yeah.
then maybe you can let the frustration, the anxiety, the whatever is keeping you back, holding you back, maybe you can let that go. So in this particular case, I'm sure Trisha knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to be super specific, but it, might be the ex of somebody that I love dearly. So if you can find the gratitude in that situation, which, for me, part of it was this without, I can't give too much away. I'm trying to be very diplomatic here, but this person helped me set boundaries, which is something I needed to learn how to do, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
So you can usually find something. And again, I have seen this happen for myself time and time again. If I am really struggling with a person or a situation and I make myself sit down and think, what am I grateful for about this situation? Oftentimes it's because it taught me a really hard lesson. And that could be any number of things. It could be that I needed to set boundaries. It could be that I needed to let go of something that is holding me back. It could be that I have a habit that I need to let go of. Like there's all sorts of things. So
Yeah.
even when you do these exercises that are designed to be fun and joyful, they can have a deeper purpose or meaning if you challenge people to, for example, everybody needs to write a gratitude letter to every member of their team. And if they have to do that, it may start to change the dynamics.
I'm obsessed with that because I always try to figure out there out of every bad, what is the good? What is that silver lining? And
Right.
and so yeah, I'm super super impressed with that. I love that idea. I love that again, that also when we talk about gratitude leads us to what we've been talking about all along, which is retention, right? It really can lead to retention. If people are learning about one another, if they're sharing, if they're seeing things from this new shifted perspective, that could actually improve your retention as well. Oh, and engagement. Why don't we just go there? So you're giving them a gift, but you also are getting a gift in return. Something a little lighter. One of the other examples that they have a company trivia game hosted by your company leaders. So when you do give a correct answer, then you get to spin and win some swag. Everybody loves swag, right? We all do. But this is a really cool way to have people learn more about the company, see if people know, even like goal setting, right? You could even relate it to goal setting. Like, what was the company's goal this year? Did we achieve it? What was this? What was that? And so people are learning, they're thinking to start paying attention. They're maybe even thinking about what it's going to be next year. So then they pay attention during their own personal goal setting to see if they can align their goals with the company's goals. But overall, if you make it silly and fun, people will have a great time. You will show gratitude. They will feel gratitude towards you as well. One of the suggestions they have is like everyone wears holiday attire, whatever that looks like for that person. So it's not necessarily the ugly Christmas sweater, although that is always always fun to watch. People love to win. They love watching their teams win. And it really creates a great atmosphere. And it says, thank you. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for knowing about our company.
Yeah, and fun is underrated a lot, especially
Tom.
right now. We all need to laugh. That reminded me of this skit night that we used to do at my law firm, which we 100% could not get away with nowadays. But you know, uh, but the whole point was, it was the employees making fun of the partners, and everybody took it in stride, and it was really fun. But we, sort of did like a SNL skit where we had newscasters and we did news events about everybody. And the thing that the skit night brought out was a sense of community because we were all sharing inside jokes that were to the whole firm. So it wasn't like little clicks here and there. It was everybody was in on the joke. Everybody was there. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was having a good time. And that I do think is underrated nowadays. Like anything that can be fun and make people laugh, of course it has to be in good taste and it can't be offensive. So I'm not saying like, this is all good natured fun, but the world is a mess. And anything we can do to get people laughing, laughter really is the best medicine. So if we can get people to laugh, that could even be like maybe one day during the holidays, because we will do an episode on this in a couple of weeks, and we've done them. We tend to do them every holiday season, but we do an episode on mental health because the holidays are really hard for a lot of people, and it's not a joyous time for everybody. So maybe you can interject some fun things, which again, if you are making the employment atmosphere more lighthearted, that is a way of showing gratitude that isn't as straightforward as just saying thank you. But maybe it's like everybody bring in their favorite comic or like their favorite meme. Trisha and I do that with classes sometimes. We'll be
I
like,
love it.
okay, today bring in your favorite HR meme, or show us if it's a virtual class, show us your favorite HR meme. Because everybody gets it. It builds a sense of community because you're like, yeah, 100%. So if you could do little things like that, even again, it doesn't always have to cost money. It doesn't always have to take a ton of time. What we're trying to do is show people that we care enough to take the time to do something out of the ordinary.
I just had an idea. This is kind of scary. Um, so listening to you, I was trying to think about another way to do something to, again, bring some joy, bring some laughter, and create that sense of community. And one of the examples that they have in the article is hold a mystery Santa event. Now Santa is a great character because Santa doesn't really represent technically a single holiday. Kind of, sort of, yes, but technically no. But I was like, yeah, it's still too close. So I came up with have a Grinch event. So maybe everybody gets, and it's kind of goes with like that idea of a white elephant, but I love the idea of calling it a Grinch event because who could not have fun celebrating the Grinch? Everybody loves the Grinch, right? And so maybe have like a max price of $10, $15. Everybody gets to put in, if you put in the gift, then of course you get to pick a number and then you can have them like draw, and it's just so fun to watch people and their expressions. And if you really want to get crazy, you can allow people to steal. Um, that's when it gets really, really fun. And then on top of that, you throw in a surprise that they are not expecting, which would be like big fancy gifts from the company. So, in addition to those, maybe you have like a bonus drawing, and maybe you could even ask some of the questions we were talking about earlier and say, okay, what is this? And then the person who gets it gets to go pick up a prize. And ooh, yeah. The example that they used were like AirPods. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
so like, yeah, 4, 5, 6 big gifts like that, that would be super fun. But in the meantime, everybody's laughing their butts off.
Yeah, and you can, I've seen those done a number of ways. My family does something similar. We have like a $10 limit. It has to be a holiday themed thing. Whatever you decide that thing should be, some sort of tchotchke. It's meant to be, silly. So it could be obnoxious silly, it could be sweet silly, it could be whatever. But our family gets pretty ruthless about it with the stealing, so you could absolutely do something like that. You could also give it a theme. So my sister does this with a group of friends, and they'll have a theme every year, like fire and ice. So it has to be related to either fire or ice,
I love
which
that.
gives people a lot of latitude, but
Yeah.
also makes it not Christmas specific, since we tend to focus on that particular holiday. But as we've mentioned, I think there's 26 holidays between now and then. I should know that off the top of my head, but I'm blanking right now. So there's all sorts of holidays. So if you can make it non-holiday specific, but just more like the season specific. So like maybe it's a pumpkin spice theme, or maybe it's a Burr, it's cold outside theme, like whatever. Like,
It's definitely cold outside.
right? Yeah,
Don't get
today
me
was
started.
miserable. Miserable down here, so I can't imagine what it's like up where you are. But so yeah, but just again, having those moments when people can come together, I think is good right now. On the flip side of that, just because we will be talking about mental health, and I mentioned it. Also, another thing that you can do to show gratitude is allowing, maybe you give everybody like a physical call in card, like a no excuses call in. They don't have to use PTO. It's just they need half a day. It doesn't have to be a full day. They need a half day. They can claim the card anytime between now and January 15th, or, whatever dates you want to make it. But it's just like no questions asked. They just literally can come up and give it to you. And as long as they don't have a project due, or they can get somebody to cover it, they can take that day or that half a day and do whatever they need to do with it.
Well, and Jules, we've talked about, even for those of you who are like, nope, my company would never go for that. That's a lot of lost production time, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, perhaps, maybe instead of giving them that free day and just okay, they never have to make it up, maybe you say to them within this particular, and again, I know in some states this won't work, but in most states you could say like, hey, as long as you make up that 4 hours within this pay period or this pay week, then you can take, like, we're not going to ask you anything. Like, so okay, I want to take Friday from 1 to 5 off, then I just make up that 4 hours earlier in the week. So even something like that for those companies out there who are maybe struggling a little bit, but you still want to do something nice, or you just are like, nope, we have a bunch of Grinches in our C-suite. They will never allow it. Think outside the box. Listen to some of these suggestions that Julie and I are giving you, and then think, okay, how would this work for my company? Because honest and truly, if you are showing this type of gratitude, this amount of gratitude, it is going to come back to your tenfold because when your employees feel, same, here's our words, heard, valued, respected, right? They are going to give you more as well, and you will see it come back.
Yep.
Plus, it's just good to be a good human.
Another thing that could be a lot of fun, again, if your company has the resources to do it. But for those of us who live in cold weather climates, the older we get, the less tolerant we are of the cold. So maybe doing something that reminds us that you can have fun in the cold. So I'm thinking of out here in the Cleveland area, we have the Ohio Metro Parks and they have the toboggan run. Like, how fun would it be to take an afternoon off and take employees to the toboggan run? Or take people to some place for hot cocoa. Like just those little things where we used to do all those things as a kid when we used to love the snow. We don't have to spend the whole day out there anymore, but just like something that sort of brings back the spirit of, oh, yeah, we used to like to be outside in this crap. Like I'm sure there's tons of things like that. Take people ice skating or
Yeah.
take people, like I'm thinking of New York City, Bryant Park, take people someplace where they can do some again, not some holiday shopping. Sorry, I almost slipped there. But they can do some holiday shopping if they have holiday shopping to do. And if they don't have holiday shopping to do, they could just go get hot cocoa or shop for themselves, whatever. But like, do something, have a fun winter themed field trip for those of you in cold weather climates.
I wonder if you couldn't even create like your own winter wonderland at the office and
Oh,
pretend like you're outside for those of us who really don't want to go outside.
yeah.
No, I do love it outdoors. I mean, I better. I live in northern Michigan for goodness sake. Like I have
No.
to like the cold at least a little bit. But for those of you, maybe like I'm thinking like if you're in Southern California and you're like, yeah, there's no skating here, there's no this, there's no that. Well, maybe it would be fun just to create something, and the cheesier, the better. Create your own winter wonderland within maybe your break room or something like that. If again, for those of you for whom time is limited, price is limited, something like that, you could do a version of that on a smaller scale that is still funny and silly. Like you could even create a Yeti.
Yeah. Well, and
Get a picture with a Yeti.
yeah. Well, and again, to your point, it doesn't always have to cost a lot of money. I'm thinking about West Palm Beach, where uh, Scott's parents are from, where when we would go down there for Christmas, there's one section of Palm Beach where, the downtown section where they have like, they build these enormous sand castles and sand sculptures that are
Yes.
holiday themed, winter themed. And you could even just take people down there and like have everybody maybe give them some time to go off on their own, but then have everybody gather for dinner or have everybody gather for pictures at the beginning and then let people go where they might and give them a little bit of spending money. Like it doesn't always, there's a lot of cities and towns that do holiday or winter themed things that you could probably take advantage of and not have to spend a lot of money. And most people don't do those things because they live there, right? They
Yeah.
don't do the touristy things.
Yep.
So maybe make that like, we're going to go be tourists today and
I
we're going to
love
see what
that.
this is all about.
I
Um,
miss the boat parades down there
yeah,
at Christmas when everybody would put their lights on. I miss that so much from living down there.
yeah. Yeah, so we have come up with all sorts of ideas. As we mentioned, we will put the articles we reference in the show notes. Some of these were our own ideas, so you're just going to actually have to pay attention or rewind to hear them all. But we hope this has given you some good ideas. Uh, Last thoughts before we get back to check in on our wine, Trisha.
I definitely just want to remind our listeners that gratitude can be expressed in so many ways. We started with something that was more about what you could do for your employees from a learning and growth perspective. We ended up with more some things that would cost maybe some money for a different type of expense, right? But no matter what you choose, as long as you're genuine and as long as you're expressing to your employees, maybe even the reason you chose this, we chose to do this because that might even make it a little more personalized and a little more special for them. And then they will hopefully feel your intent in doing that for them.
Yes, I think intention is very important. We were joking before we started actually recording the episode. You do not want it to be obvious that you ran into CVS 20 minutes before your gathering started and bought whatever was available on the as seen on TV rack, or the holiday themed aisle in
Unless it's something
CVS.
that they wanted
So,
from there.
truth. But come on.
Give me a Snuggie.
Come on. Yeah, right. Come on. Probably not. So, intention goes a long way here. And again, as we've said, we've given you a lot of different ideas. It doesn't have to cost money, it just has to be meant from the heart. And it shouldn't be just this time of year thing, it should be all year. But this is sort of the season where we come back to it, and I think it's as Trisha always says, if you haven't done it yet, it's a great time to start and a great way to set the stage for next year. So with that being said, Trisha, are you any more grateful for this wine that your husband went and bought?
Well, I am certainly grateful for him. I am certainly grateful for wine. I'm grateful for Aldi for giving us so many wonderful selections typically. Yeah, this one just for me isn't quite cutting it. But again, I will say I'm gonna pour a little more because I have not refilled. So that is an indicator, I think, right there. But I'm appreciating it a little more than I was at first. But it's still not quite for me. So again, I would give it another shot though, because like I said, my palate is all off with this sinus infection. So if anyone has had this and they've tried it and they're like, dude, you're so far off, please let me know, because I will try it again just to see if it's me, or maybe if it's this particular bottle, or if it just this is one that came out of that area that maybe isn't as good as the rest. What about you, Jules?
Well, yeah, and we try to make this point frequently. Everybody's taste with wine is different. So just because you or I don't like it doesn't really, quite frankly, mean anything.
No, it does not.
I mean, unless you like the specific wines that we like, it really doesn't mean anything. And Trisha and I have enjoyed many a pink Moscato pink Catawba wine
Pink
on
Catawba.
Put Bay, which,
Yeah.
dear Lord, it's the worst. Sorry, Put Bay. Sorry. But it really
we
is.
drink it with love because our friends
We did.
help.
Right. We
Yeah.
did. We did. We made the best of a
Cool.
bad situation. We were grateful to be with friends.
Yes, we were.
Bringing it back around. Find the good in any situation.
Yes.
No, mine, I am still really liking it. I probably like it more now that I've had a second glass. I truly, for $10.99, this is a very nice rosé. I have to say, I will definitely go back to Aldi and buy it again. So now keep an eye out, because I was told that there is occasionally Vino Verde at Aldi. It was not there today, but Lori Drum again. Hey, Lori. Said that this was she got that recommendation from somebody, saw it at Aldi, and it was really good. So I don't really know much more about it than that, because that means green wine. But
that's exactly what I was just gonna say. Am I wrong with my?
No, that's what it would mean. But she said it was great. So if you ever see it, buy it.
I wonder if it means new wine. So one of my favorite wines this time of year is a Beaujolais Nouveau, right? So maybe, yeah.
Could be. So if you see it, buy it. If I see it, I will buy it, because now we're going to be on a mission to figure this out.
We will.
Specifically the Aldi one. Anyway. Right. Okay. Well, so we've covered the wine, and we have, I think, given people some really great options for things that they could do with their employees. And so with that, we are going to wrap it up, bid you all a fond farewell, and cheers in gratitude. Cheers.
In gratitude. Cheers.